We're going for 5 red lights here at Japan, and we are off. The lights on for an eternity there, but now we're off. Flying lap on the prime tyres. He goes down the inside, Nico Rosberg diving move. They're side by side still. Scott keeps it clean around the outside, no contact made. Beautiful move there from Scott. He's into first place. Rosberg dives to the pits as I predicted, and Scott is going to, looks like he's going to just walk this Grand Prix. Brilliant job there from Scott to win the Japanese Grand Prix. His team's going to be very happy indeed. Hey there guys, over here bringing you my F1 2013 career mode with Scott Jenson today at the Indian Grand Prix, and I hope you guys have had a good Christmas yesterday and had plenty of drink and food. And so we're back here with F1 career mode, back with the videos after a 2-day break, and we're here at the Indian Grand Prix. As I said, we're qualified in a lovely 4th place here on the grid for India on the option tyres, so it should be a good race going forward. We'll have to see. Looking at the setup quickly now, and we're going to be looking at the setup afterwards. Tyre wear crucial here, is obviously the primes and the options. Quite a big difference in terms of tyre wear rate. The options go very, very quickly indeed, and the prime tyres, you can really lean on them, are actually faster and a much better race tyre around this track. And definitely, you know, if you're racing online and stuff, you're definitely going to want to be going onto the prime tyres all the time straight off and getting the option tyres out of the way early, or going to the option tyres at the very latest, either one. Probably not best to put the option tyre right in the middle somewhere. It's just going to mess up your kind of rhythm and everything like that. So we're going to put on more prime tyres. We're going to have to see how it goes. We're going to have to make up the strategy as we go along, because the game does think that option tyres are the way to, 2 option tyres are the way to go, and 2 primes. So, you know, we're questioning the game a tiny bit, and also, you know, the game could also say, like you see on screen right now, 3 options and a prime. That's mathematically possible. Will it be the fastest? I don't think so. We'll have to see how the strategy unfolds here for Scott in the Sauber. So we're going to the grid now, where it's got, and we've got Sebastian Vettel on pole again, but we're in the mix. We're in 4th place. We're in the mix with Fernando Alonso, Vettel and Rosberg yet again, and Lewis Hamilton. Basically the Mercs, Alonso, Ferrari, and Vettel, and Webber sometimes. He's always lingering around there at the top 5. So here we go to the grid for the Indian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel on pole here in his Red Bull. We've got ourselves here in 4th place, and Nico Hulkenberg, our teammate, in 9th place. So here we go. We're revving up to 5 red lights really for the Indian Grand Prix with Scott Jenson today. And yes, here we go. We're going to 4 and now 5 red lights for the Indian Grand Prix, and we're off, and we're getting an okay start, and we're going to change it up into 2nd gear after losing the wheel spin there. Alonso's had a great start, Rosberg a sluggish one, Hamilton's coming down the outside, Scott going down the inside of Rosberg and Alonso, I think that is. Yes, Alonso taking a very wide line there, Rosberg squeezing him out, and Vettel has just bolted, and he's into 1st place. We've seen him do this so many times in real life. He's doing it in the game, it seems, and looks like he's going to try and break the 1-second barrier between me and him. And so now Scott's going to continue on and onto lap 4, and Nico Rosberg is right behind us, and he's going to have DRS at this point. Obviously DRS activated after 2 laps, and now Nico Rosberg with DRS, he goes past us. We've saved our KERS for maybe later on, but it's not going to be any use really. Rosberg holding that lead. So on to lap 5, we're going to make the pit stop very early indeed, 2 laps earlier than the game wanted us to do, but the option tyres completely worn out with our setup and whatnot. So we're going on to the prime tyres now, and we're actually going to, at this point, think probably prime tyres best till the end of the race really. Just we can lean on them better. The options only went 5 laps, so that's pretty pathetic. So I think it's going to have to be prime tyres all the way till the end. So we're coming out in front of Daniel Ricciardo. So I think it's going to be primes to the end. We're going to be fighting Nico Rosberg and Sebastian Vettel for the win maybe. We'll have to see how it goes. So at this point we're only P11, and although we are out of sync with everyone, obviously people haven't then made their pit stops. So now we're going to cut later on into the race, onto lap 7 here, onto lap 8 actually, and we're catching Maldonado here. We've got DRS wide open. We're going to try and overtake Maldonado in the next lap. Hopefully, we'll have to see. Coming through to the first corner, locking up heavily on the right tyre, going wide there over the runoff area. Then still on the end of Maldonado, hoping to maybe get DRS and we'll have to see. Going in really hot, locking up, hitting the Maldonado's gearbox there. Maldonado is behind us. I think we can see him in the mirror, so we've overtaken Maldonado there. Bit of a dirty move, yes, but we locked up. We couldn't really do much. Maldonado's going to come back at us anyway, but we're going to have DRS, so we would have overtaken him anyway. Either way makes no real difference. We don't really care about Maldonado too much. So coming into this corner, the hairpin style corner, very weird entry into this corner. Very tricky to get it right as well, and also which gear to take it in, either first or second. Second really gets you a bit more traction, but first gets the nose in. And so now we cut all the way to lap 14 as we're just going on these prime tyres. We're going to go for another set of prime tyres here with Scott in the Sauber team. Good pit stop from Sauber there to get us into at least 6th place. I think if there's anyone overtaking us on the pit straight, yes they are, so we're down to 7th. I think that will be our position, or maybe even 8th as a car just goes by. And yes, we're into 8th place, defending from Kimi Raikkonen, who was in the back of us. We nearly lost the rear there, and so Kimi Raikkonen down the inside and going round the outside into the hairpin, but I'm down the inside through clipping the apex there. And now we're going to use the curves, and now onto lap 15. Now we're chasing Mark Webber, and we're side by side with him now, and Mark's really squeezing us, being very aggressive indeed, not really giving us any room. Please calm down, Mark, not giving us any room. Going round the outside though, it should be a lovely move. Going to get the DRS as well, should be able to overtake Mark Webber, the first Red Bull we've seen on track since the start. And now we're chasing down Sebastian Vettel in 3rd place ahead of us. Nico Rosberg has yet to pit. He's in 1st place. He's pit once, but he hasn't pit 2nd time. Whereas me and Vettel and Webber, I think we all have. And Alonso in 2nd place, I think that was. And so we're setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. And then we're going to cut later on onto lap 18. And we're chasing down Sebastian Vettel here. He's in 1st place. I'm in 2nd. We've overtaken Rosberg. We've got the undercut in the pit stop as Rosberg's gone onto option tyres like the game recommended us to do. So now we're right behind Sebastian Vettel onto the DRS straight. And this should be a pretty straightforward move now. We've got curves, we've got DRS coming up in a bit. There it is, popping open the rear flap. We're going to get a lot of speed here. Going on the slipstream of Sebastian Vettel. We duck out on the right at the last minute, and we overtake Sebastian Vettel. Go in front of him to defend well. Going back on the racing line, and we're into 1st place of the Indian Grand Prix so far. So a good race overall so far. But going on to lap 22, we're coming to the pits now for another set of prime tyres. And I think Sebastian Vettel and Rosberg are both staying out, and so they're a bit out of sync. I've broken a bit of my front wing right now with Scott, and so we're putting the front wing back on, new one, so that's going to add a few seconds to us. We're going to have to see where Vettel is. I actually don't think, I think Vettel already made his pit stop onto a set of prime tyres, so Rosberg is yet to pit. So we're coming out behind, I think that's Max Chilton, I think it is. And Vettel's right there, Jules Bianchi, in fact. Jules Bianchi holding up Vettel a tiny bit as Vettel had to go round Jules Bianchi as he came out of the pit, so thank you, Jules. But we're behind Vettel at this point. Vettel getting some more speed on the fresher tyres, going earlier than me onto those sets of tyres. And now we're going side by side. Vettel's overtaken us though. He's got much better traction there. And yeah, he got the undercut on us basically. But now we've got DRS. We've used a lot of our curves. Going the last minute, really last minute actually, tapped the Vettel on the way going right. But now we're going to overtake Vettel, re-overtake him I should say, for 4th place at this point. But I think that should be a net 1st place if Nico Rosberg and Alonso and Button make their pit stops as predicted going into the next few laps of the race. So I think we're in a net 1st place at this point, which is very good, ahead of the Red Bull of Sebastian Vettel and Nico Rosberg's Mercedes. So going to at the end of lap 23, and Nico Rosberg, they're going to the pits. I think, no, that was Jenson going to the pits, but I've gone horribly wide there with Scott, and Vettel's going to get a brilliant toe, and slipstream goes right past us with DRS as well, I might add, and he's through into 1st place right now. We're in 2nd, going over the 1st corner. The tyres are starting to give away a tiny bit. You can see the car drifting a tiny bit, power sliding through that 1st corner. Now into the hairpin now, getting a good, nice entry onto the apex. Now we're going to use a lot of the curves, and we're going to hope we have DRS, and it's going to be enough for us to get back at Sebastian Vettel. Opening the rear flap once again for the 3rd time, and we're going to try and get the slipstream from Sebastian Vettel, but it looks like he's a bit too far forward for us to make a move. Yes, he is. So we're going to have to stick behind him. We're locking up a tiny bit, and we're going to have to follow him through for this next sector. So it's going to be very tricky indeed to overtake him in this next part. We'll have to try our best. Really, 2nd place. We're going to tuck in behind him, and we're going to follow through. I think that's Charles Pick in the distance. We have to see how he plays into it. A bit of traffic might help us indeed to actually overtake Vettel. So we're coming through this next left-hander, And so we're coming up to Charles Pic now. Vettel goes to the right, I go to the left. We go round Charles Pic. Both of us go round Charles Pic. That was really close, dicey stuff there between me and Vettel. And we're right behind Vettel still. And right behind, sticking behind, right up his gearbox really. Going to the left-hander, now the right-hander. And looks like we're going to stick behind Vettel for the next lap as well. Because we're right there pressurising the German. And this is what we want to give him, pressure. And on to lap 25 into the hairpin style corner coming up to it. And we should have DRS. We also might be able to make a move down the inside. No, we don't. We leave it. We're going to hit the apex lovely there. And we're going to use our curves, use the DRS. And we're going to try and overtake Vettel now for the fourth time. For the fourth time, we're opening this DRS. We're in this same situation. Can we make it a third overtake, a second re-overtake, really? And we're going to overtake Vettel now. We're going to try and make it down the inside, locking up horribly on the right tyre. We're going down the inside, overtaking Vettel, and we have made it stick. So we're into first place now at the Indian Grand Prix. Once again, we've got 5 laps to go, and surely we'll be able to keep this lead as we can defend well from Vettel going through this next sector now. And so we should be able to defend from Vettel very well here, and it should be, what's this going to be? I think it's going to be Scott's third win in this F1 debut career, really. And we're coming up onto lap 29, and Max Chilton, what are you doing? Max Chilton locking up horribly on the right tyre, and we've had to correct ourselves from a power slide. And that means Vettel's getting a really good exit, and we're on to -1 fuel as well, so we're going to have to save fuel, down to lean mix to save fuel and make sure we get to the end. Sebastian Vettel's overtaking us with DRS and curves, and obviously standard mix probably. Going down the inside though, we're going to keep the line, locking up horribly, and Vettel is going to fight, and Alonso's getting there as well, so Alonso pretty much there as well, fighting with Vettel, so Alonso could maybe even attack us. We'll have to see going into the last lap of the Grand Prix, lap 30, and we're struggling for fuel at the moment, and you can see there, -1 again, having to change it back down to lean as we change it to standard for the rest of the lap there on lap 29. And Vettel is overtaking us again with DRS, going to go down the inside yet again, try and defend from him, locking up, but yet again, banging wheels. We're going side by side still, he's still there in my mirrors. And Alonso there, you can see he's pretty close as well. So the top 3 separated probably about by 2/10 here, ladies and gentlemen. And we're overtaking Sebastian Vettel, defending well. And we're going to keep first place, I think it looks like. Alonso is now ahead of Vettel. Alonso ahead of Vettel now, so Vettel's lost out there. So Alonso into second place. So that's not going to be good for the championship fighters. That means Alonso gets more points ahead of Vettel to extend his lead in the Drives Championship. We're coming through on the last lap, and we're in first place out of 21 drivers left in the Grand Prix. It's been a very good race so far. Can we make it to the finish now with enough fuel? That'll be a disaster. We've run out of fuel, but we're on optimum, so we should be able to comfortably get through. We'll have to see, going very slowly through that last corner. Actually, Alonso's very much there. But we're going to come through to win the Indian Grand Prix. 2 wins in a row there for Scott Jenson in the Sauber. And yes, he is waving his hands in the car, as he should be. 2 wins in a row. Brilliant stuff there from Scott in the Sauber. And we've won here at the Indian Grand Prix. The Indian fans will be going wild here for another winner. Difference to Sebastian Vettel. And we've come through. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Give it a like if you did. Comment below on what you thought of the race. Subscribe if you are new for weekly F1 career mode and other gaming videos. I've been aarava. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. And I'll see you guys next time. And I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Jeff to take the results. Yes, it was an absolute fantastic Grand Prix. Scott Jenson won the Indian Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso in second place, just grabbing it from German Sebastian Vettel at the last minute on lap 30 to come home with a second place, rounding out the podium. And that means Scott Jenson overtakes Lewis Hamilton for 5th place in the Drivers' Championship. Brilliant stuff there behind Mark Webber now. So he'll be looking to maybe even overtake Mark Webber coming if this form continues for him, really. And we can see now Sauber are well ahead of McLaren, Mercedes, and are actually catching Lotus. So that will be interesting to see if Sauber are going to make that a goal for the remainder of the season. But it's been an absolute fantastic Grand Prix here in the Indian Grand Prix. An absolute stunner, a classic, if you will, with plenty of action here between Vettel, Scott Jenson and Fernando Alonso. We really hope you've enjoyed the coverage here of the Indian Grand Prix. Please remember to give it a like, comment below on what you thought, subscribe if you are new to this channel. I've been Jeff. I hope you've enjoyed this Indian Grand Prix. We'll see you next time for Under the Floodlights of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at the Yas Marina circuit. Till then, goodbye and good night.